Good morning. It's your girl, Jen Sugarmeyer, your host of Mindset in the Morning, where we are here live 5 days a week at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. And if you are watching today, if you are tuned in at any point during the day, today's Friday, which means you've got the weekend to do some self-care. So that's my hope for you. I'm feeling pretty good. Yesterday, I talked about how I had a great night's sleep, and my great night's sleeps depend on, if I get up in the middle of the night or not. And I didn't, and it felt really good. So I'm feeling well rested, about to go into the weekend. I've got a ton of energy and a ton of things that are on my plate. My book, Confidence is Queen, is coming out next week, y'all. So it has been such a journey to get to this point, and I am so excited about the impact that this book is going to have on the world. And we've been focused a lot about confidence on the show, and everything is confidence, really. We've been talking about communication this week. I mean, we want to have confidence in our communication, and we want to have confidence in our abilities, and want to have confidence in our skills, and we want to have confidence in the way we show up. So really, anything that you say, you can just put confidence in front of it. So I think it's one of these umbrella topics that we can just say about anything. When we want to have confidence in our products, we confidence in the home builder, because we want to make sure that our home was built well, and confidence in our, car mechanic, because we want to make sure that the problem is fixed, and with our doctor and our food, and we want confidence in everything. So everything comes down to confidence. So Confidence is Queen is coming out next week, y'all. I'm so excited. I even get goosebumps when I read it. It's just so incredibly impactful. So today we're going to be talking about confident communication. We are going to wrap this up. And this week we've talked about things like saying no, how to get comfortable saying no. Yesterday, we talked about saying sorry, and let's eliminate it when we don't mean it. Just when we're just saying it, we just throw it around. Sorry. I think there's a lot of definitions for sorry, and we just throw it in there. It's kind of like the word like. So let's eliminate that. And how to just show up more powerfully and stand up for yourself, because we know that if you don't stand up for you, I mean, who is? You're the only one that can stand up for you as powerfully as you need to stand up for you. So today we're going to talk about how to get them to hear you. What does confident communication sound like? But first, if you have not already subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. I don't make the rules in YouTube, but this is more than just a morning mindset show. We want to get really clear about how we want to show up in our lives every single day. And we're used to working out in the morning, or eating the right breakfast, putting the right things in our body, but it's mind, body, soul. And there's a reason why that's the Holy Trinity. And what are we doing for our minds to get our minds ready for the day? And that's what this show is all about. So YouTube has this algorithm, and the more subscribers you have and the more likes you have, the more it helps get in front of other people. So I want this to be more than just one of those like rah, rah, I listened to it once kind of shows. I want this to transform the way that you think, and just 20 minutes of every day, man, I'm going to get some mindset in the morning work. So if you hit that if you hit that subscribe, that helps blow up the algorithm. So you are a part of this movement. So how do you want to show up? Have you thought about that? Showing up in your own, let's say maybe it's the office. Maybe you don't work in the office. Maybe you run a business. Maybe you take care of the family, whatever that may be. Think about communication and how that looks in your world. And I always say, as well, Zig Ziglar always said, but I like to quote him: if we don't know where we're going, then if we don't know where we're going, then if we don't have a target, then what does he say? If we don't know where we're going, then we hit our target every time. And if we don't have a clear idea of what we want our communication to sound like, if we don't know how we would like to improve, then how are we going to improve? So I want you to think about what it would be like to have this confident communication. And we're going to talk through some things, and just to give you some idea. But if you stop to think about it, what does that look like for you to show up better? Are there areas, maybe you go to meetings and you raise your hand and you want to say something, and does it sound like maybe sometimes people are speaking over you, or do you have a hard time getting a word in edgewise? Do you feel like you're being heard? Well, The truth is, there are so many different types of people in this world. You have narcissists that are out there that are all about them and they're always right and they want to be heard and da. And then you have people that are very egotistical and they're, arrogant and it's look at me, look at me, look at me, and maybe they're not a narcissist, but they just love to hear themselves talk. And then, you've got the people, there's all different types of personality traits, and some people that like to just go on and on and on, and some people that are just short and sweet and to the point. So there are all different kinds of people, and we're not going to be able to avoid them. So how do we show up in a world that has so many different dynamic types of personalities? And for me, I am someone that's just get in, get out. I don't need to have this whole, like when I'm managing people, for example, and they want to come tell me a story about why something didn't work out. I'm like, oh, just tell me it didn't work out and what we're going to do to move forward. I don't need the full story. So sometimes, and we're not going to get into all the different personality types and all of that, but sometimes it is knowing your audience as well, because there are different love languages, y'all. There are different types of communications. There's different leadership types. I mean, we are all different people. And so you got to know your audience sometimes as well. But in general, there are ways that we can increase our communication so that we can be seen and heard, which isn't that what we all want? We just want to be acknowledged. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. And sometimes it can be scary. I think of sitting in some of those meetings and you have people that are maybe senior to you and they seem, really, they've got a lot of things going on and they seem really important and really smart and all the things. And maybe the CEO is in there and it seems a little intimidating because you're not there yet. And if you say something and it doesn't sound smart, are they going to, think that you're not? And, are they going to, does that jeopardize your job? And so, and so you just you hold back a little bit and maybe you raise your hand and it's, oh, I'm sorry. I have something. This is just going to take a minute. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay. What do you think about, and when we do speak up, it comes out like that. So how do we improve that kind of communication when you get when you get the guts to speak up? How do you get it to come out in a way that is digestible for people, in a way that people are going to hear you and respect you? So we're going to go through a few things today. So first and foremost, in that example that I just used, I'm sorry. I'm just going to take a minute. It's okay. First of all, we're not saying sorry. We don't need to apologize for you speaking. That's your right. That's your right. And if you're in that meeting, then you were invited to that meeting and you have a seat at the table. So we don't need to. Now, whether you say sorry or not, if you're just saying, this is just going to take me a minute, I just want to get my words out. I really appreciate you listening in advance, or whatever you're saying as a lead up to whatever you are saying. Let's assume that people have, I don't know, 60 seconds of attention. It's probably less than that. It's probably like 8. I don't know. You are going to lose people when you just start putting in all of these filler words. So a lot of people, especially if you are in the office place, you will find that people will, and again, we're not going to get into a lot of personality types, but I would say if you are in a professional work environment, that we don't need to have all of I'm leading up to what I'm about to say, and I'm just giving all of these, words that I'm just throwing in there, like, thank you so much for your time, and I'm going to keep it brief and blah, 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 because everybody in that room, whomever you're talking to, it could be a one-on-one conversation with somebody. It doesn't matter. That person has other things going on in their life, whether it's work related, home related, things like that. Don't waste their mental space with words that don't matter. You are losing them off the bat. And does it sound confident if you say, I'm just going to take a minute of your time and I'm going to keep it really fast and I really appreciate you, and like they're thinking about something else. They don't hear you. You have something amazing to say. Just say it. Just say it. You don't need to go through all the other things. You want to capture their attention immediately. So I want you to think about in your life some things, some situations that you have maybe spoken a little too much ahead of time, and think of how it would look and feel to just get right to the point, to not have all those fillers and the ramp up and all the things. If you just went right to the meat, hey, this is what I got to say. Oh yeah, I've got something. I was thinking, my idea is, what about blah blah blah, whatever it is, and you just launched in. Because even if we're sitting in the same room as you, whether it's on Zoom or we could be just face to face at, a networking event, I may be physically standing in front of you or sitting at the table with you or listening to you on Zoom. But if you lose me, my mind wanders. So I don't know if that's everybody else, but my mind's like, kind of hungry. And I start thinking about other things. So do you want people to be listening to you, or do you want them to start to veer off? And of course, you want people to be listening to you. So just get in, get right to the point. Did I make my point? I feel like I beat a dead horse on that one. So get right to the point. Okay. Make sure you know what you want to say, and don't hold yourself back if you don't have it all 100% planned. I would suggest that you get your message out depending on what it is. And you've got to assess the situation. But if you're sitting in a meeting and that meeting is 60 minutes long, you have 60 minutes to get your point out. And I know that the flow of a conversation, you don't start here and then keep going and then go, hey, back here, that you talked about in the first 5 minutes. Sometimes there are windows of opportunities to get your words out. So even if you don't have this well scripted, it sounds amazing, but think through what you want to talk about ahead of time. So maybe that's preparation going into that meeting. Maybe it's as people are thinking about things, you're kind of scribbling down some high level bullet points so that you make sure that you're getting your point across. But be clear, because you want people to follow you. Any leader, and you are a leader, if you have something to communicate, you are leading people on the journey of whatever you are communicating with them. So whatever your title is at your job, whatever you do in your life, you're a leader. If you are making a suggestion, if you're having that conversation, you are leading people on a journey. So be a little methodical in how you think about it. If you're all over the map, it's going to be hard for people to follow. I know even for myself, sometimes as I've jumped out into my entrepreneurial journey, oh, hey, Jen, what do you do? And I'm all over the map. And it's hard for me to even say, hey, this is what it is. So I've had to learn to pare that down into a way that's very easily digestible. Oh, I'm a transformation leadership coach. Oh, I do speaking. I'm an author. Da, da, da. Instead of this crazy, well, I help people with it. And you've got to know your audience, but you've got to say it in a way that is easily digestible, and don't make it, hey, what do you do? And then like 10 minutes later, you allow them to ask you a question. You've got to say things in itty bitty tiny little sound bites. So be clear in your communication and say things without all of those fillers, because those fillers are going to get people lost. You want to just get in, you want to say your point. So bullets are really good. In fact, that's what I do. So I sit here and I've got all of my bullets. I don't know if you can see that because my lights shining here are so bright, which are so bright. I think sometimes it makes my face really shiny when I go back and look at these. But anyway, so I do my bullets every single morning and I go through here and this is what I do. So I go bullet by bullet by bullet. So that's what I use to keep me organized. So scribble some things down, put them on your computer, put them on your phone, put them on your computer, whatever it is. When you've got that message, you might not have any of those on you, but be sequential, make sure it makes sense, be clear, don't have those filler words, be genuine, be who you are. People want to hear you. They don't want to hear, I have been in presentation. I used to work in vendor management. And I remember this one lady, she worked for one of the big telephone companies, and she came in And she was getting ready to get up for her presentation. And this woman, no joke, I mean, she was sitting there. We were all sitting around the table. She got up so she could whiteboard. And it was like the biggest theatrics I had ever seen. I thought, oh, what the heck just happened? Like she just went from having a conversation to getting up and being like, and now we are going to do the things. And I was like, what is this? It wasn't her. And I told them, because I was a little rough around the edges and I was just very direct. I'm like, I only have so much time. I don't need my time to be wasted. I have a million vendors trying to meet with me. I've got a ton of things on my plate. And I told the other people, I said, please don't bring her ever into my office again, because I don't have time for those theatrics. I don't know what just happened, but I felt like I was at a Broadway and not a good one. So they ended up sending me cookies. And I think about that. I'm like, that's probably kind of sad. But anyway, my point is, be genuine to who you are. Don't get up and be somebody that you're not. These theatrics, it's going to rub people the wrong way. It is not who you are. People are buying you, not the playwright act. If you want to go into acting, go into acting. Then you need to act. But if you are just having a conversation, if you're sitting around having a meeting, if you're just doing the things, then sit around, have a conversation, be you. Be you. Remember that confidence is having the trust, the faith, the belief in yourself. It's knowing that everything is going to be okay. So when you do speak, know that it's going to be okay. Whatever the ending is, even if this isn't a perfect script, you can do this. It's going to be all right. Even if you maybe forget to say something, or maybe accidentally say something that you didn't mean to, or said something that didn't quite make sense. You're going to recover in life. Like the world will not fall apart. You actually don't have that ability to make the world fall apart. It may seem a little traumatic, but it's not. Remember that the 8 seconds, I'm making this up, but 8 seconds or 60 or whatever it is that of people's attention, they may not have even heard you anyways, because you may have just been going on a rant. So who knows, but it's not the end of the world. But whatever message it is you have, be solid in it. Feel good about what you bring to the table. You know your stuff. You know your stuff. If you don't know your stuff and you're talking about something that you don't know, do your research ahead of time. Make sure that you feel comfortable about the content. And then as you are getting up to say something, or you're approaching somebody and you want to say something, feel good in knowing that you are bringing about transformation, change, that what you have to say should be heard. Because if it shouldn't be heard, why are you saying it? Don't waste people's time. No, if you have something that needs to be heard, sit with that feeling. So few things, we're just going to go through these really quickly, and be respectful. Always be respectful in all of your communications, because that goes a lot further than being a jerk. I've worked with people that are absolutely jerks, and it rubs everybody the wrong way. So don't come in and like, yeah, no, I'm stuck, like, blah. I don't even know if you understood what I just said. Don't do that. Be genuine, be respectful. Okay, few things. When you're talking, don't speak in monotone. This is so boring. Nobody wants to hear this. This is like a robot. Have some energy in your voice. Have some energy. Make some facial expressions. This is really boring as well, even if I had some tone in my voice. Do you want to see this? Or would you rather see some dynamics? Again, we're not doing theatrics, but like, this is super boring. Your energy matters. People are going to feed off that. So if you have low energy, that's what you're putting out, and that's what you're going to get back. So bring the energy, bring the volume. You don't want to be so quiet where people like, what? Did she say something? What did he say? Can somebody repeat that? And then nobody knows. So have some volume in your voice. You don't have to yell, just have some volume. Smile, nod, be attentive, be intentional about how you want to show up. And it is in the grasp. You have full control over the person that you want to be. You do. You just be present, Be in the conversation. Use your face. Use your voice. Use your facial expressions. Don't use filler words. Be respectful. Know what you want to talk about and just say it. And at the end of the day, you can't make the world crumble. You just can't. You don't have that power. So stand in confidence in who you are, because what you're about to say matters. So sit with that feeling. And as you're about to speak, remind yourself, what I say matters. It does. And I'm going to sit with that feeling, that empowerment, that what I say truly matters. People need to hear this. I make a difference in the world. But if nobody hears what I have to say, how are you going to make that difference? So sit with that today. And as you go out into the world, think about how you can come across more confidently when you are approaching people, and how shoulders back, make that eye contact, be seen. Don't hide. Allow yourself to be seen, to be heard. What you say matters. Okay. So is the weekend. So go do some self-care this weekend. I would love to hear about what you are up to. And if there are topics that you want to talk about, go to higherandheels.com. You can find all of our information. This is Mindset in the Morning, brought to you by Higher and Heels. So go to higherandheels.com and you can reach out to me there. And if there are topics that you'd like to talk about, or if there's a specific situation that you'd like coaching on, let me know and we'll talk about it on the show. I went a little bit over today, but thank you so much for your time. Have a great weekend and think about that person that you want to be, and then go be that person. I love you. I'll see you next